Every year, culminating in April, Americans endure the misery of the Internal Revenue Code. This process is particularly painful because the tax system is hopelessly complicated, and it is especially nerve-wracking since the IRS has such immense powers to destroy people's lives. I'm Hiwa Alagabandian, a student at the College of William & Mary. In this Center for Freedom and Prosperity Economics 101 video, we're going to talk about the cost of the tax code. But we're not going to talk about the economic cost, which is the measure of how high tax rates and double taxation of saving and investment reduce growth and make America less competitive. That's important, but it's not our topic today. Nor are we going to talk about the money we send to Washington, which is a direct cost to our wallets and also an indirect cost since the money is used so often to finance wasteful programs that further undermine economic performance. That's also important, but not today's subject. And we're not going to talk about the cost of the IRS, which is an enormous bureaucracy costing $12 billion each year. It's ridiculous that we have a tax bureaucracy that employs more people than the FBI and CIA combined. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. Instead, we're going to talk about the hidden tax of compliance. This is the time, energy, money, and other resources that we devote to simply trying to figure out the right number to put on our tax returns. According to the Tax Foundation, just complying with the tax code will cost us $338 billion this year. The reason for this punitive compliance cost is that politicians keep making the tax system more complicated. The chart you see on the screen shows that the number of words of tax law and regulation, and this is just for the income tax, has jumped from 718,000 in 1955 to more than 7 million in 2005. And who knows how high it is now? Dealing with that thicket of complexity is very time-consuming. The IRS estimates that we spend 7.6 billion hours each year dealing with the tax system. That's the equivalent of nearly 4 million full-time workers. I'm afraid to even speculate what that number is going to be now that Obama has put the IRS in charge of enforcing a government-run healthcare system. But all these bureaucrats don't seem to provide much help. The IRS admits that only 7 out of 10 taxpayers who call with questions manage to get through, and they have to wait on hold an average of 12 minutes. Not that you necessarily want to get through. A Government Accountability Office report indicates that the IRS provides inaccurate information millions of times every year, but if you use that inaccurate IRS information to file your taxes, you're still held liable. Heads, they win. Tails, we lose. But it's not just the paper-pushing bureaucrats at the IRS who can't figure out the tax system. Money Magazine used to do an annual survey where they would send a hypothetical family's tax return to 50 professional tax preparers. These are lawyers, accountants, and enrolled agents. But even with all this brain power, the magazine would get back wildly different answers. Sometimes there would not even be one right answer. That can't be much comfort to the huge number of us who pay someone to file our taxes. Let's conclude. The tax code is a nightmare. The $338 billion compliance cost is more than $1,000 for every man, woman, and child in the country. And a lot of that cost is hidden in the price of products we buy, since businesses actually bear the brunt of the burden. This tax on paying taxes is a pure deadweight loss to society. By the way, most of the blame for this mess belongs to the politicians. Yes, the IRS goes overboard and often treats taxpayers with contempt, but all of the bad policies and complexity is the result of 97 years of social engineering, which began on that dark day in 1913 when the income tax was created. So what's the answer? In 1996, Professor Art Hall estimated that a flat tax would reduce compliance costs by 94%. These numbers have not been updated in recent years, but the tax code has become much more complex, so the savings from real tax reform presumably would be even higher today. That would be great for America, but bad for the IRS and bad for the politicians, so let's not hold our breath expecting reform. I'm Hiwa Alagabandian. On behalf of the Center for Freedom and Prosperity, thanks for watching this Economics 101 video. Please share this widely.